Woe to us who has raised us up from our place of sleep. This is referring to that period, and the believer will say to him, this is what the most beneficent Allah had promised, and messengers spoke truth. Who was a wise man once gathered with his brothers when he recited this verse, and the trumpet will be blown, the second blowing, and behold, from their graves they will come out quickly to their Lord. They will say, Woe to us! Who has raised us up from our place of sleep? He cried and then said, for the entire duration in which they remained in the barzakh, they were in pain, and they were being punished in their graves. They only said, Woe to us, because they were headed to a greater catastrophe for them. That is why they played down the punishment in the grave, calling it sleep, and there is a proof for that in the Quran. But when there comes the greatest catastrophe, the day of recompense, he then cried until his beard was soaked. Related this narration. During the period of ignorance, people gathered to somewhere between Iraq and Asham. A sheikh among them stood and said, O people, you are all dying, and then you will be raised to face judgment and accountability. A man stood up and said, By Allah, I saw a man whom Allah will never resurrect. He fell from his mount during one of the seasons of the Arabs. His camels trampled him with their feet, animals with their hoofs, and men with their legs, until he decomposed without even a fingertip from him remaining. The Sheikh said to him, You are a people whose certainty of faith is weak and whose deeds are few. Had a hyena taken that decomposed body and ate it, and then defecated it, then had dogs came and they ate that, after which they defecated it, and then had animals who eat animal excrement came and ate them. Then on the day of resurrection Allah would order everything that took anything from him to return it, and they would all return it. Then Allah would raise him so that he faces judgment and receives his reward. A harsh old man who still had not accepted Islam said, O Messenger of Allah, regarding three sayings of yours which I have been informed of, no person of sound mind should believe you in them. It has reached me that you say, Indeed, the Arabs will leave that which their fathers worshipped, that we will be victorious over the treasures of Kisra and Caesar, and that we will die, after which we will be resurrected. The Messenger of Allah said to him, Then I will indeed take you by your hand on the day of resurrection, and will certainly remind you of this saying of yours. The man said, You will not lose me among the dead, and you will not forget me. The Prophet said, I will not lose you among the dead, nor will I forget you. The old man lived on even after the Messenger of Allah died. In fact, he himself witnessed the Muslims overcoming Kisra and Caesar. He then accepted Islam and became a good Muslim. Very often would be heard greeting him in the masjid of the Messenger of Allah, doing so because he honored the encounter that the man had with the Messenger of Allah. Umar would go to him and say, "You have indeed accepted Islam, and the Messenger of Allah promised you to take you by your hand. And the Messenger of Allah does not take anyone by the hand except he who will be successful and happy." Insha'Allah, Al Walid related this narration, went to the Messenger of Allah with a bone that had decayed, and he said, "O Muhammad, Allah will raise this." He said, "Yes, he will make you die, and by Allah, he will then bring you to life. Then he will make you enter the hellfire." And this verse was revealed, and he puts forth for us a parable and forgets his own creation.